Alrighty, hello everybody. My name is Bianca Soriano. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you are watching this. Today I'm going to be talking about the effects of influencer presence in social media. I am currently getting over a cold, so excuse my voice, but we are going to go ahead and keep talking about this topic regardless. First of all, we're going to talk about why I chose this topic and what made me interested in even researching this topic at all. So I myself am a journalism major and I have an emphasis in social media. So I am super interested in all the influencers and all the background information that we do not get as viewers at all when it comes to marketing online and just looking at their posts on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever they may be. And I just thought that it was really interesting to really dig deep into the analytics and what the influencers nowadays are really doing for the online community in terms of sales and engagement and what it does for big companies as well. So how the influencer presence online has affected the world of social media. First of all, I think influencers now are the biggest probably advertisers online that I can think of, other than maybe celebrities, but again, online presence is just the most prominent at this age, especially the last decade. Honestly, with TikTok, Instagram, when people started making money on YouTube, I think that's when the influencer game really stepped it up and companies recognized that. And I do think with the influencers, they are such good conversation starters. They are the main face of the internet, especially if they have a big following. They have the power to spread the word quicker to target audiences, especially if these big companies are targeting specific influencers online. Let's say, for example, Bethany Moda was a big one back in 2016. She was super big in the clothing and beauty industry, and so a lot of companies like Sephora or Ulta and maybe even like Too Faced partnered with her so that she can talk about all their new products online to her audience, which initially would also be the audience for all those companies. They drive engagement, again, they drive sales. They have the power to really connect with their audience and their target. What do you call that? Let's see. Target audience, target customers, they drive sales, and they're also the trendsetters. People look up to them. Like I said, like Bethany Moda, maybe even, let's see, Meredith Foster. They were big in the beauty industry back in the day when I was really big on YouTube. And now with Emma Chamberlain, let's see, Zendaya, Tom Holland. I know those are more mainstream celebrities, but they're big influencers online as well. And their followers engage with even their ads and those paid posts that they do with certain brands they partner with. Let's see. So I did do a couple researches. I read a lot of journals, and the first couple of survey questions that I'm going to be talking about are from the journal What KPIs Are Key? Evaluating Performance Metrics for Social Media Influencers. And for those of you who do not know, Key Performance Indicator is what KPI stands for. This is basically just a qualifiable measure of performance over time for like a specific objective, and most companies and teams do this to give themselves just a good way to measure a goal to shoot for and really track milestones and really just see the progress. So the first survey question talks about what metrics do brand marketers and agencies use primarily to support their influence marketing efforts. And as you can see, net sentiment goes for 43.30%, number of interaction 30.30, and interaction rate 26.40. So a lot of this just comes from what really gets to the customers, to the audience, and just really seeing what gets them to interact with the post and what gets them to stay to look at the post. If it's something that's sentimental, if it's something that really, touches what their own personal feelings are, or interest. It really just depends on the customer engagement. Survey number 2 focuses more on the influencer side. This is very similar to the first survey question. It just says, which metrics are most important for evaluating influencer marketing campaigns? As you can see, there's a lot more breakdown for this one. So interaction rate, again, just goes up on top. And then the reach, number of views, number of followers, sentiment of comments, excuse me, influencer quality, target group fit, and post quality. So, like I said before, interaction rate is super important, especially for an influencer. The job of an influencer basically is to engage with their audience. That's probably the number one thing that they have to focus on. So reach is also super important. You got to make sure that you are getting your target audience and even more. You want your audience to be able to find all the information that you are telling them to be valuable, so that your reach grows and grows to an even bigger audience. Again, the number of clicks, the number of followers, it's a big deal. The more clicks, the more engagement, which means the bigger the reach. All these really come hand in hand. It just goes in order of what drives the rest of all of this. So the number of followers, again, just the bigger the reach, the bigger the interaction rate. It really is just one big domino effect, from interaction rate to reach to number of clicks, number of followers, influencer quality, all that good jazz. So the next five questions in my PowerPoint comes from a different journal, and the journal title is going to be New Methods of Online Advertising, Social Media Influencers. And this focuses more on the data and how the audience interacts with the posts and the influencers and all the ads and stuff like that. So for this first survey question from this specific journal, says probability of buying a product or service that the respondents saw as sponsored content on a social network. So they did do a survey for all of these, and this is what the what the results came to be. So for those who saw sponsored content on social network, a lot of the times sponsored content would have hashtag ad on it, or it is very, very obvious. And it looks like the people are maybe interested in seeing it. They are interested in actually even knowing what the product is about, but it's not guaranteed that they are going to buy it. So 44% falls under the I will maybe buy. And again, I feel like this is more just depending on what the product, what the service is, and the quality of production and the post, and how engaging it can be, and how attractive it can be to the target audience. But it depends on like the marketing team and how good it is with selling. 27% falls under the I probably will buy. But again, a lot of this, I think, knowing the audience knowing that it is a sponsored advertisement or a sponsored content online that they saw, that's probably what drives them away from actually buying it. Again, it drives interest, but only 0.90, not even 1%, will actually buy products from it, according to the survey. The next one says probability of buying a product or service that the respondents saw as influencer posts on social network. This one has a higher rate of I will buy, at 2.2%, and I believe, just from my own knowledge as an audience, having an influencer who I specifically follow will make me more attracted to a product or a service than if I were to just see a post from the company itself, if that makes sense. Just because having someone else's opinion on it makes me feel like it is more worth my money, worth my time, because they have tried it before me. So again, just the percentages of this specific survey is a little bit more higher on the I will buy and I probably will buy than the previous one. And then this one, again, is kind of the complete opposite of the last survey question. This one is just random ads that are generated on free mobile apps, or those ads that are in between YouTube like YouTube videos, or even when you're just scrolling on Instagram, those sponsored ads that just pop in randomly. And this one specifically is surveyed towards if people are bothered by it, they do not care, or if they do not mind at all seeing these ads. And as you can see, for all categories, people are mainly really bothered by it. Probably again because it is random generated. It is not an ad that they see from from an account that they follow specifically. And which understandable. And there are, out of the 4 categories, the ad or sponsored content on social networks has the highest I do not mind at all rating. And again, because I think social network just has a lot more influencers, and it really is more based on who you follow and more catered to your own personal likes and clicking habits. Survey number 6 just talks about the awareness of the respondents that influencers publish their products and services in their posts, and 77% are mainly aware, half the time, because I think posts are meant to be direct, and you just can't miss the ads, or they specifically say that it's a sponsored advertisement or it's an ad, because half the time you really do need to just disclose that it is an ad. But 23% are completely unaware of it, which this could be because of demographics. Maybe you're an older audience, you're not really into the whole social media thing. Advertising online is very new, but it could also just be because the influencers themselves are really good at making content and they don't make it super obvious that they're selling, but that is the beauty of knowing how to sell. Let's see. Will the most commonly used marketing in the future be through social media? And 40%, so almost half the people that were surveyed agreed to this. I personally also would agree to it. It is one of the biggest and most effective ways to really reach such a big, broad audience worldwide. But doesn't necessarily mean that everyone completely agrees. There's 1.2% that completely disagree, and 8% that say that it is unlikely. But again, just with how social media is and how big the internet can be, it is such a good way to really do marketing, and it'll probably be something that all companies will eventually adapt to. And then the last 2 survey questions that I'm going to talk about comes from the journal called The Role of Influencers in Consumer Decisions Making Process. And I believe both of these are going to be in a funnel kind of graph, just showing you like what this one specifically are the desired influencer characteristics based on what the people that were surveyed thought. Excuse me. So it goes from skill and expertise, product experience, intelligence, attractiveness, popularity, and others. Obviously, skills and expertise, you cannot really go wrong with that. People trust the ones who actually know about the product, people who have actually maybe made the product or have used the product or service, which also comes in second. Product experience comes hand in hand. Intelligence, attractiveness, looks can be a very big deal, especially online, but again, it's more about your knowledge of the product or what you're talking about that I think most audiences look for. It's about building that trust, and having that trust with the influencer and the audience is really important, because that's how you're going to convince them, or that's how it's going to drive sales. And then this one is most trusted influencer types. It just depends on kind of influencers that such companies